It's your open source advocate, and I'm back with another video, and today we all get screwed by Windows. Yes. So I wanted to talk about a recent event with Windows 10 just not being supported anymore. I do some IT work for some small businesses and basically MSP work, and I thought, okay, I'm going to switch these guys over to Linux. I put this to their board. I gave them options. I said, you can go to Windows 11, you can buy new hardware, but your hardware right now won't go to 10, but it's perfectly good hardware. You can go to Mac OS and buy that hardware, where you get really good hardware. It's going to last you 5 or 6 years, then you'll probably have to get new hardware again, just depending on how long they want to support that hardware. Or you can go to Linux, and I can install Linux on these machines, and we can continue to use the virtual machines that run the Windows systems that you're using today, that run the actual software you need that is Windows only, and it should be fine. And they went for the Linux option, which is great. I was like, sweet, this is going to be awesome. I've created training videos. I gave the people that work at that credit union access to Zorin Linux 18, which I really like. I think it's a really nice version of Linux. I showed them all of the little things about Linux that I could that is different from Windows, but at the same time kind of left them with a similar experience where they can get to things. I just told them, like, hey, you've got virtual desktops. Don't worry about it. If you feel like you lost something, check down here and see if it's on a different virtual desktop. I showed them a lot of different things about it, and they were they're nervous about it, and they're getting used to it, and they've been very open-minded about it, which I love. Now, the problem is, they use some dot matrix printers. They use some dot matrix printers that are hooked up to a Windows 10 machine, and I thought they were both hooked up to one machine. And I'm the one who did this, so I should have remembered, but I actually had to hook up a newer one that they got to a different machine, and I didn't think about it, and I went and grabbed, first I grabbed one of their manager's machine and updated her to Linux, just to get her kind of a week and a half of experience using it to see how it went, and she did great on it. Then I went and grabbed their laptop that they use and the other desktop. And the desktop that I grabbed, I didn't realize was connected to that dot matrix printer. I just unplugged everything from the back. I was in a hurry, carried the things out, brought them back to the house, got them updated, and took them back. So when I went back, I plugged everything in, and then they called me and said, hey, we can't print the receipts. I was like, what? Why not? I didn't do anything to that machine. I thought it was still connected to the other machine. It still had Windows 10 on it. I knew that was the last one I wanted to tackle, just because I knew I was going to have to tackle printer drivers and things like that. I was a little bit worried about it. And I was like, okay, I'll come down there in just a little bit. So once I got free from work, I went down there. And yeah, I just want to show you real quick. Before I continue with the video, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who supports me. You can support me in several different ways, and you can support the channel and keep open source growing. First way is Patreon. Come over here and become a patron. It really helps out, and I'll tell you right now, to all my patrons that I have right now, thank you so much. It means the world to me. I don't think I could tell you how much it means. So truly, thank you. I really do appreciate that. You can do buy me a beer or buy me a coffee as a one-off over at PayPal as well. If you prefer to do it that way, I appreciate it. I love to see those notifications come through. If you're looking to get a little more out of what you're giving, I've written a book, and it's a science fiction book. It's an amazing book, in my personal opinion. Of course, I wrote it, so I'm a little bit biased, but I've had a few people read it who said they really liked it. So you could also go over to Amazon and get that. I've got links in the show notes in the description, so you can get to that pretty easily. If you want paperback, ebook, hardback, it's completely up to you. I'm really proud of this. It took me a long time to get it written, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. So I hope you'll enjoy it. And if you're not into books, then I've also got a merchandise store that I've been setting up, and I've been doing this for a little while and trying to get it ready, so I'm excited to be putting this out there. But I've got a hoodie. It is white. It's actually a pretty nice looking little hoodie, and it's got the awesome open source logo on it, or one of the logos I've created on it. I've also got a tumbler glass, so if you're a person who likes having a little drink in the evening like I do, then that might be your speed. If you want to push back a pint, then I've also got a beer mug here. Frosted glass with some logos and some information on it. I've got a wine glass if you're a wine connoisseur. I've also got coffee mugs if you like coffee. And if you're just into the t-shirts, then I've got these amazing t-shirts that you can get. They do have stuff on the front and the back, so check them out. Again, it gives me a little bit, it gives you something out of the deal, so I truly appreciate that you're willing to get out there and do these things. Thank you again. Now let's get back to the video. So this is the, literally I'm on that machine. So if I go to printers, it just finds these printers. Linux does not say, hey, you want to add a printer, click add. Now go through 75 next steps before you get to something where it says you need the drivers, go download them. It just says, hey, I see this machine, it's ready. Hey, I see this one, it's ready. Now some of these are repeats because this gets shared out by multiple machines on their network. I don't know why. But yeah, if you look down here, here's the here's the Epson LX350 dot matrix printer that they have, and this was just found. It was just there and it was ready. I was like, oh, wow, awesome. Now, this is when I shared it out to the network, and it kind of boomeranged back and found itself somehow, so I need to fix that. But, I mean, it's still here. And honestly, if I were to go right now and click on this thing and click print test page at that office, it would print a test page to that dot matrix printer. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go into Cups. Now, if you've never done that, you can go into Cups using the web browser. Now, you have to have admin privileges to do these things, but I'm logged in as the administrator user on this machine right now. So if I go to localhost colon 631, we are now in Cups, which is basically the printer administration GUI. It's a web GUI. It's really nice. So I can go to printers, and again, I can see the printers that are here. And here's the LX350. So I clicked on LX350, and I see right now that it's shared, but at the time it said not shared. So I was like, okay, let me go through here, and I'm going to say modify printer. And I went through and I checked share, and I did all the stuff that I have to do, and then I came back and I clicked on the administration page. Now this is the one where it wants me to give like admin credentials just to make sure I'm supposed to be doing this. So if I go to, if I type this in, it's really long on purpose, but see, I've got it set shared, and I put a few things where I can remotely, manage and everything like that. So trying to make everything as easy as possible. I also added each of those users, even though they're not sudo users, I added them to the LP admin group inside of Linux so that they can manage the printers as well from their accounts if they need to. So I went through and set this up. It's now a shared printer. And I said, okay, sweet. Let me go over and tell Windows, hey, here's this shared printer. Now you also have to install Samba and enable Samba, and there's a little bit of configuration of Samba so that Windows can see it, because Windows just wants to do everything their own damn way. But that's okay. No problem. I did that. So I got all that stuff set up, and once I did, I was like, okay, I'll go tell Windows to see this printer. So over here, I'm actually logged into the Windows machine, the virtual machine that they need. So I go here and I click on this and I start typing printers, which is great, really easy. Now Windows has changed their printers setup. Windows 10, you could still get to the old control panel version of Windows, which was kind of nice. Windows 11, not so much. Now you'll see it sees this thing and it says, hey, I see this. It's even set as the default printer right now. But I can tell you, I did that. And when I click on this thing, it'll go in, it'll say, hey, here's your printer. Do you want to do something? Yes, I would love to do something. I would love to print a test page. I can click print a test page. It's going to say, you're just going to see it really quick, and then it's going to just, nothing ever happens. It never gets there. You go look at the queue, nothing in the queue. It just goes into the ether. I don't know where it's going. I'm amazed that I got it to add this printer at all. This took me 3 days. At first, it wouldn't even see the printer. It was nuts. I mean, I understand why IT people hate printers now. It's not the printers, it's Windows. I'm telling you that when I went to Linux and that printer was there and I clicked print test page and it printed, I was like, awesome. This is going to be so much easier than I thought. And I was so wrong. And it's not Linux fault. I can tell you right now, this is still a shared printer. I went to the other desktop that has Zorin Linux on it, and I went to printers, and it said, hey, I see this shared printer. And I said, yes, I'll use that. And I clicked print test page, and it printed. And then I went to the laptop where I'd put Zorin Linux on it, and I opened up printers, and it said, hey, I see this shared printer. I said, yes. And I said, print test page, and it printed. It is not a Linux problem. I'm telling you now, it is a Windows problem, that it cannot see a shared printer that has been shared in the way that Windows says it wants to see shared printers, that you go install the drivers for that printer, and then it says it's ready, and you click print a test page, and it goes nowhere. Nothing happens. It never shows up. I mean, it is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I spent 3 to 4 days on this. I'm very lucky. My cousin is on the board of directors of this particular financial institution. He happened to come in on the 4th day, and I don't have any hair as it is. I shaved my hair off pretty much almost to the scalp, and he could tell I was about to pull it out anyways. He said, don't even mess with it. We're just going to switch out away from these dot matrix printers, and the best move they've ever made, because they've got great printers there that are jet printers, laser jet printers, and the receipts print and you can read them. It's not this horrible carbon copy of a carbon copy of a carbon copy that you can't read anyways when you get your copy of the receipt. It's a receipt that people can read and they like it. But I'm telling you, the printer situation with Windows is insane, especially when manufacturers go to the trouble to make the drivers specifically for Windows. When you go and install those drivers and follow their instructions, and then you go say print a test page with a printer connected directly to the box even, and it still fails. That is a problem with your operating system. That is not a problem with Linux. That is not a problem with the printer. That is a problem with the operating system, that it cannot perform a task that Linux, an open source project that is contributed to by people who volunteer, can just see a printer and say, hey, I added it for you, and then say print test page, and it works. I literally had to do nothing else. I didn't have to do anything. I plugged it in, didn't even realize I'd plugged it in, left that office, came back home the next morning, was working. The afternoon they called me and said, we can't print any receipts today. We've been having to do them by hand. As soon as I got off work, went down there, and I'm like, the printer's here. And I click print test page, and it prints. That just tells me, okay, Linux is really, really good at a lot of things that people do not give it credit for. And this is one of those things that I think it deserves credit for. Yes, 20 years ago, you'd have had all kinds of hell getting Linux to use a printer. 20 years ago, you'd have had all kinds of trouble getting Linux to see a Wi-Fi network. 20 years ago, you'd have had all kinds of trouble getting Linux to use Bluetooth drivers. 20 years ago, you'd have had all kinds of trouble trying to do a lot of things in Linux. I will not argue that. But today, when you install Linux, if you install a distribution like Zorin, that's built on Debian base, on a Ubuntu base, and is added to by the people who build Zorin. When you install that thing, and it just has stuff that it's like, hey, I see this, do you want to use it? Yes, and it works. I mean, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, printers, doesn't matter. It's just there. And then people want to tell you, well, Linux is too hard. I'm not going to argue with you. It is not the same as Windows. If you're very used to Windows, if the only thing you know how to do is in Windows, then yes, Linux is different. But if you use a Windows computer and an iPhone, then you've already learned how to do things in two different ways. If you use a Windows computer and an Android phone, you've already learned how to do things in two different ways. If you happen to have a Windows computer and an iPad and an Android phone, you've learned how to do things in three different ways. So guess what? You have the capability to learn another way. You just have to let go of how Windows wanted you to do things and understand it's different in Linux on purpose. They are trying to give you a better experience. And I can tell you right now, from the printer standpoint, the experience is incredible. Incredible. I mean, I was so happy because I know they were so nervous about me putting Linux on their machines. They still have a hard time understanding that they're logging into a virtual machine when they're going to the Windows side of things. It's not like they don't understand exactly, but they kind of forget because the remote desktop session just kind of takes over their screen. But when I explain to them, like, hey, the problem is here. If I go back to the Linux side that I installed on the background and I go to printers and I click print test page and I click it and it starts printing, they're like, oh, well, it's working there. I'm like, yeah, it's working here. And I go to their other machine and I do the same thing. Like, oh, well, it's still working on the Linux side. I'm like, yes, it works perfectly on the Linux side. Even they understood that Windows was the problem. Even they started asking me, well, can we get our financial software to run on Linux? And I wish I could have said yes. Unfortunately, it's made to run on Windows with the .NET framework stuff that's kind of old. It just won't run on Linux yet. I'm hoping that they're going to get to the point that it will, because man, it will be the happiest day when I can just tell them, let's just ditch Windows completely. Let's go straight up Linux. Let's keep everything virtualized like we've got it now. It's a really great setup for you, but let's go do it with Linux. I'm so looking forward to that day. I know this was just me kind of ranting, but I wanted to explain, like, I know you guys run into these problems. I know you're out there. I know you Windows lovers are out there too, and it's okay. If you like Windows, that's fine. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm not saying that you should switch. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you, this is the experience that I recently had, and it made me feel so good to know that this thing that I proposed to a group of people who are not super technical is working out really well for them. Even if it did have some glitches for a few days. The end result is they're getting better receipts. The end result is they see that Linux is really a powerhouse of an operating system. The end result is they've been able to keep their existing hardware and not spend thousands of dollars on new hardware. The end result is they still get to get into their virtual machines and do the work that they need to do with their financial software. The end result is I feel much better having Linux on their desktops and laptops than I ever did having Windows on it. I mean, just such a really great outcome, and I wanted to share it with you. Really did. It was so good, and I felt like this is video worthy, and I wanted to kind of explain what was going on and how I did these things and how I'm working these things. And really and truly, the day that I can switch them out completely to a Linux-based system, I'm going to be thrilled, and I know they're going to be thrilled because it'll be kind of one thing and they won't have to kind of work between two systems. But right now, they're figuring out, hey, I can learn something new, and that's awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it so they can come along the open source journey with us, and I'll talk to you next time.